Okay, first graders, we just finished reading The Tortoise and the Hare. That story was about a hare who raced a tortoise. The word hare comes up a lot in this story, doesn't it? It's a really important word, and it's even in the title. So someone who wants to read The Tortoise and the Hare would definitely need to know what the word hare is, right? And be able to read it? Well, today I'm going to introduce you to a special rhyme pattern that appeared a lot in the story and is in the word hare. Remember, a rhyme pattern is a combination of letters at the end of a word that are frequently appear in many different words. So today we're going to talk about the rhyme pattern, air. So there are 3 letters that make up this rhyme pattern. The first letter is A and makes the long sound A. The second letter is R and makes the sound And then the last letter is E, but the E doesn't make a sound, it's silent. But it's a very important letter because it makes the A into a long A, and it makes the A say its name. If the silent E weren't there, this would just be R. But because the E is there, it's air. So, if someone were to read The Tortoise and the Hare, they would be able to read the word hare if they knew this rhyme pattern. They would see the H that makes the sound, and then they would see the rhyme pattern air that makes the sound air, and put them together to make hare. They would say air, hare. There are many words that rhyme with hare, and they can be made with the same air rhyme pattern. One of these words is dare. For this word, you start with making the D sound because of the D, so it's D. Then it's followed by the same air pattern we saw in hare. D, air, dare. Remember, an A, R, and silent E are used to make up air. This is the same pattern we use for hare, but with the word dare, we need that extra letter D in the beginning to make the D sound. So repeat after me. D,
D,
air,
air,
dare.
dare.
Perfect. Now, we're going to look at both the word dare and hare. So if you see dare and hare, you see they both have the same air rhyme pattern. Now I'm going to need your help to think of more words that rhyme with hare and dare and have the same rhyme pattern. So what's one word that rhymes with hare and dare?
Rare.
Yeah, that's a great word. So rare. Air. Rare. Can you hear the rhyme pattern in rare? So what 3 letters make up that rhyme pattern, air?
A-R-E.
Yes, A, R, and E. And I'm so glad that you said the E, because it's a silent E. So even though you don't hear it, it's there, and it's very important to make the A a long sound. So you said A, R, and E. Now, what letter would you have to add before air to make the word rare?
R.
Yeah. Yes, you would need an R to make rare. So what sound does the R make?
R.
So you have or R, and air.
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 Rare.
Rare.
Perfect. So now I have some whiteboards, markers, and paper towels that you can use to make some words. So here's your materials. So I want you to practice writing words that rhyme with hare. Can you tell me again what 3 letters make up air?
A-R-E.
Yes. Can you write them on your boards? Okay. Can you write at the top of your boards in big letters? Can you write them in the bottom of your board? Can you write it in small letters on the side of your board? That's perfect. Now, anytime I say air, I want you to remember that it's these three letters, A, and a silent E, that make up air. So now you can erase your boards. So for this next activity, I'm going to say some words with the air pattern, and I want you to listen very carefully to hear them and know how to spell them. And you're going to write these words down. For example, if I say dare, you're going to hear the D sound and write a D. Then you're going to hear the air, and remember it's A, R, and a silent E. So you're going to have written D, air, and write dare. So now I want you to practice by writing the word hair. So you have a air, hair. This is perfect, and I'm so glad you remembered that silent E at the end. So now I want you to write the word fair. Air, air, fair. So you heard the F sound in the beginning, and it was the letter F, and then you heard the air, and remember that silent E, and that's perfect. So you wrote fair all together. So you've done so well recognizing, reading, and writing the air pattern. Now we're going to look at another rhyme pattern. This rhyme pattern is found in the word dire. Have either of you heard the word dire? So this word means when something is serious and needs immediate attention. So for example, if you show up to school and realize you didn't have your homework, that would be a dire situation for you. Dire sounds a lot like the word we were making before, that's dare. But dire ends differently than dare did. So let's say dare and dire together. Dare.
Dare.
Dire.
Dire.
So you may notice something a little bit different about the endings of both of those words. Dare and dire. So dire ends with three letters that represent the IR sound. I, R, and then an E. It's a silent E, just like when we were looking at air. So you have the first letter is an I that makes the I sound. The second letter is R, making the sound. And you have a silent E at the end that controlled the earlier I sound. So all together, you have ire. And this is what ire looks like. So here is the I, the R, and the silent E. I, ire. If you wanted to make the word dire, you would need to add a D at the beginning of the word. So when you add a D, that makes the D sound, D, for dire all together. So what three letters are used to make the word ire, or make the rhyme ire?
I-R-E.
Can you erase your boards and then write down those three letters, ire? Good. I'm glad you remembered that silent E at the end that makes the I long. So whenever you hear me say ire, I want you to remember to write those three words down. So can you write ire in the top right corner of your board? Can you write it in the bottom left corner of your board? How about you write it big at the top? And write ire one more time, small at the bottom. Remember, whenever you hear ire, think of those three letters. So do you remember how I asked you to listen very carefully before when hearing words with the air pattern? So we're going to do the same thing, but with ire. So I want you to listen very, very closely. For example, if I say dire, I want you to hear the d sound in the beginning and write a D. And then I want you to think and hear ire. And remember that the 3 letters that make up ire are I, R, and a silent E at the end. That very important E. So d, ire, dire. So now I want you to do it yourself, and I would like you to write the word fire, and make sure that you remember that silent E at the end. So fire. I-er. Ire. Fire. That looks great for both of you. Now I want you to write the word wire. W-I-R. 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 So that looks great. I'm so glad that you heard the W sound and knew that that was a W. And then you wrote the E at the end. Even though you don't hear it, it's still there and it's very important. So that's a great job recognizing that those words that have the pattern of ire. So whenever you read words, it's important to look very carefully at all letters in a rhyme pattern because just one can make a huge difference. So if I write dare and dire on the board, you can see that they're almost identical except for these 2 letters, the I and the A. So in the air pattern, you have an A. In ire, you have an I. Those two letters make a huge difference. So you are now going to practice making words with both the air and ire patterns. And I want you to listen very closely to which pattern you should be using. So here's some sticky notes with different consonants, the air and ire patterns, and then some consonant blends and digraphs. So when I say a word, I want you to make the word using your sticky notes. For example, I'm going to make the word tire. So first, I hear the T sound at the beginning of the word, and I picked a T. And then I heard the ire rhyme pattern at the end, and I picked I-R-E for ire. And all together I made ire, tire. So I want you to do the same thing, but I want you to make the word bear. Remember, listen closely for either the air or ire patterns. So air, air, bear. That's perfect. You have the b and the air to make bear. So now I want you to make the word higher. H-I-R. 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 Higher. So great job. I'm glad you heard the sound and recognized that it was an H. And then you made sure you picked an I-R and a silent E to make ire at the end. So I want you to make one last word. I want you to make stare. So st-a-r, st-air, st-air, stare. So I'm so glad you saw and heard that st at the beginning was an S and a T together. That's a pretty tricky consonant blend. And then you heard the air rhyme pattern and you wrote stare. So you can clear your boards now. When you read words, it's very important to look closely to see if a word contains a pattern that you know. You can figure out what the word is saying by knowing the beginning sound and then the rhyme pattern. For example, I'm going to read this word. So I see a C first, and I know that makes a K sound. And then I see an A-R-E, and I know that makes up the air pattern. Even though it has an E at the end, I know it's silent but important. So I know this is a K, an air, making the word care. So I'm going to put some words on the board, and I want you to sound them out, reading the rhyme patterns in the beginning, and say what the words are. Let's do the first one together. When I point, I want you to say the sound. B. Air. B. Air. Bear. Perfect. So now I'm going to put some up, and I want you to do it together, but without me helping.
Tire.
Yeah, so this is the end.
Tire.
Perfect. I'm going to do one more.
Flare.
Perfect. You got that consonant blend in the beginning of fl, and you recognize this is the air pattern. So fl, air, made, flare. Perfect. You did a great job reading the different beginnings and endings of each word. So you have done a great job listening, reading, and writing all different letters and rhyme patterns today. And I want you to have a lot of chances to read more books and practice reading these rhyme patterns. So I'm going to put the story I read today, The Tortoise and the Hare, and I'm going to put it in our classroom library with highlighter tape over words that have the air and ire rhyme patterns. So when you read those books, if you choose to read them during your free time, you can pay special attention to those words with that tape and look at the air and ire patterns. And so you have even more practice, I'm going to also put other books up with air and ire patterns. So some of these books are Guess How Much I Love You, Bouncy Tires, Should I Share My Ice Cream, and Take Care. So these books will all be in the classroom library, and in the next few days I'll be reading them aloud in class too, so you'll be familiar with them. So thank you for being such great students today. Now it's time for you to pack up and get ready to go home.